Through these actions, the Obama administration has made it abundantly clear the United States will continue to...
The Senate is back now. We take you live there to Capitol Hill and the U.S. Senate on C-SPAN 2.
Certain space launch liability and so forth. And be it further resolved that the House agree to the amendment of the Senate with an amendment.
I move to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment to H.R. 3547.
Clerk will report the motion.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, moves to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment to H.R. 3547.
I have a cloture motion on the desk I ask to be reported.
Clerk will report.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with provisions of Rule 22 of the standing rules of the Senate, hereby move to bring to a close the debate on the motion to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment to H.R. 3547, the Space Launch Liability Extension Act and Omnibus Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2014, signed by 17 senators as follows.
With the Chair's permission, I'd ask the names be waived.
Without objection.
I move to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment to H.R. 3547 with an amendment.
Clerk will report the motion.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, moves to concur in the House amendment to the Senate amendment to H.R. 3547 with an amendment number 2655.
I ask for the yeas and nays on my motion.
Okay.
Is there a sufficient second?
There appears to be.
There appears to be. Yeas and nays are ordered.
I have an amendment, Mr. President, which I believe is at the desk.
Clerk will report.
Amendment to secretary.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2656 to amendment number 2655.
I now move to refer the House message with respect to H.R. 3547 with instructions.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, moves to refer the House message on H.R. 3547 to the Committee on Appropriations with instructions being amendment number 2657.
I ask for the yeas and nays on my motion.
Is there a sufficient second?
There appears to be.
There appears to be. Yeas and nays are ordered.
I have an amendment to the instructions.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2658 to the instructions of the motion to refer H.R. 3547.
I ask for the yeas and nays on that amendment.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Yeas and nays are ordered.
I have a second-degree amendment.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2659 to amendment number 2658.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate now proceed to pre-morning business. Senators allowed to speak for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
I've been told there's a bill at the desk, and is it due for first reading?
The clerk will read the title of the bill for the first time.
S. 1931, a bill to provide for the extension of certain unemployment benefits and for other purposes.
I now ask for second reading, order to place the bill on the calendar under the provisions of Rule 14, but then object to my own request.
Objection is heard. Bill will be read for the second time on the next legislative day.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that when the Senate completes the business day and adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, January 16th, following the prayer and the pledge, the morning hour be deemed expired. Adjourned proceedings be approved to date. The time for two leaders will be reserved for use later in the day. Following any leader remarks, the Senate resume consideration House message to accompany H.R. 3547, which is the vehicle for the Omnibus Appropriations Bill.
Without objection.
Mr. President, a few minutes ago I filed cloture on the motion on the House message to accompany the Omnibus Bill. Under the rule, the vote will be Friday morning. I've had a number of requests to see if that could be moved forward, and I'm waiting to see if we can get consent to do that. Mr. President, we also have had a lot of activity on the floor today regarding flood insurance. On our side, Senator Landrieu has worked extremely hard with others, but she's been the lead person on this. On the other side, the Republicans have had Senator Isakson of Georgia working extremely hard on this, and I hope that we can move forward on this. We're going to move forward on it one way or the other, because if we're not able to get an agreement to move forward on it, setting up a situation to have some amendments and move forward, which we've agreed to, then we'll just file cloture on it. And it's a shame we'd have to do that on a totally bipartisan bill, but it's how things work around here sometimes. Mr. President, Is there nothing further to come before the Senate? And I don't believe there is. I ask that it adjourn under the previous order.
Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Earlier today in the Senate, lawmakers approved a House-passed agreement to fund the federal government through Saturday. Current funding runs out tonight. Later, the House approved a long-term spending bill that funds government operations through the end of the fiscal year, September 30th, on a vote of 359 to 67. The Senate is expected to take up the $1 trillion spending measure this week. While there is opposition to the bill, it is expected to pass. Live coverage of the U.S. Senate when members return here on C-SPAN 2. Now a look at the latest issues surrounding the NSA's collection of data and some expected changes.